Hey everybody, welcome to this tutorial. This is a video for um, the basic meanings of the cards for Rider-Waite Tarot. Welcome to my channel. I'm Adrian Nelson. I am a psychic intuitive reader and I've been doing tarot for about 20 years now. And so I just wanted to put this course together for you all, or this sort of like tutorial basically together for you all, to just explain the basic meanings of the Rider-Waite Tarot cards. Okay, so I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on everything, and then I'm going to go through the cards for you. And this is a very nice video if you are new to Rider-Waite Tarot. You know, maybe you just bought yourself a deck and you know, when you first buy these decks, especially this one, it can be quite confusing. You know, some of the imagery might seem a little bit scary. But you know what I like to say is that things normally seem scary until you have a better understanding of them, and you know, knowledge is literally power. So just to let you know, I don't know how long this is going to be. I'm actually a little bit insomniac at the moment because I'm in Cape Town in South Africa, and I went to bed very, very early last night, which is very, very unusual for me. So I think, I'm not sure, I think it's about 1:30, maybe 1:45 in the morning at the moment. But you know, I've been wanting to do something like this for a while and I didn't get the time, and I feel all sort of, you know, peeped up and happy and excited, and I thought I'll do it for you. So let me just, before I start rambling on, I'm going to give you some basic information. And to let you know, obviously, if you are interested, you can always check down below in the description. I do have a tarot reading course as well. It's an online course. It's a lot longer than this is going to be. It's about just short of 10 hours, basically. But this is very helpful for you if you're just new to tarot and you just want to have a better understanding, or maybe you want to buy yourself a deck, but you're a little bit overwhelmed by everything that's going on. All right, so let's start with the basics. So this deck is basically what is called a Rider-Waite tarot deck, and this is really sort of typically what not necessarily all other decks, but what most other decks are basically sort of based on. All right, something very similar to Rider-Waite is the Radiant Rider-Waite tarot deck. I'm just going to show you a couple of others, but just to let you know, because I think this is where, you know, where it gets a little bit confusing sometimes. Not necessarily all decks, but I would say probably about 99% of tarot decks on the market today are based on this deck. Okay, so and when you have a basic understanding of Rider-Waite and how that works, you can really use any tarot deck in order to do any reading. So even if you get something that is maybe created based on, you know, maybe romance or money or twin flames or, you know, whatever it is, you can really use that deck for anything else. I just want to show you a couple of other ones that I have. This is the Muse Tarot by Chris Ann, the Light Seers Tarot. I'm not going to show you all the decks that I have, but I just want to show you some of the, I think the ones that are more sort of prominently available on the market today. You know, just to let you know that they are all really based on this particular one. The Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reed, that goes more into a more oracle sort of vibe. I also have a free oracle course. There's a link in the description for that. Triple Goddess Tarot, I really like working with that one. The Moon Tarot, which was given to me by a beautiful friend. The Gilded Tarot, which is fantastic. There's also an upgraded version to that, which is a box that my friend gave me, as well as this one over here, a client gave me. And this is also a this is a very good one to start with the Moon, the Modern Tarot Reader. The thing with this one is it's got a very good booklet. It's got very good descriptions, but the cards themselves can get a little bit confusing. All right, so I would say very good information in the booklets, but the card images itself can get incredibly confusing if you are new to tarot. But if you've been doing it for a while and you're looking for that next sort of deck that's really great, that Modern Tarot Reader deck is quite a good one. I don't really like the quality of the cards. I feel they're a little bit flimsy and a little bit thin, but not the point. Okay, so to get you the basics, so a typical Rider-Waite tarot deck, and I've had this one for about 3 years, so you can see it's lived a lot of life with me, because I kind of do like weekly readings as well, so I use my decks quite a lot. But so there's 78 cards in the deck itself, and it consists of two major parts, which is the Major Arcana and the Minor Arcana. So the Major Arcana is sort of like those bigger life lessons. You can almost think of like sort of like the things in bold, and then the Minor Arcana, which is also called the pip cards. They are 14 cards per deck, consisting of the deck of the deck of wands, the deck of cups, the deck of swords, and the deck of pentacles. Now, you can teach it in any sort of, if you are a trainer or if you learn them or whatever, you can sort of do them in any sequence. But when I coach tarot, I coach them in this sequence. And the reason why I do this is because this goes very much sort of in line with the law of attraction, with manifestation. And tarot in itself, it's about your journey of life as a human being, okay? And it's a little sad for me to see when I look at when I look at tarot readings sometimes online and stuff like that. And I'll tell you why I'm saying that. Tarot itself is a tool of it's a tool of empowerment. It's a tool of enlightenment. It's like a helping hand through life. It's supposed to give you that guidance. But tarot itself, it's about your journey of life. And I see a lot of times we use it for for everybody obviously wants love, but is that person want to come back to me? Do they love me? Don't they love me? But that in a sense is very much about it. It's sort of like giving your power away, because you will be happy if that person loves you, and you're not going to be happy if they don't love you. Whereas tarot is about your journey, your energy of life. And when your energy is balanced, because we are all born with a certain sort of energy flow, and usually when you have like a numerology reading, or you have like an astrology reading, for example, the reader will usually ask you for your time of date, your date of birth, and your place of birth, because that places you at a certain space. Because as a human being, you kind of want to think of your life as a cycle born into another cycle. And when you take that first breath of life, you breathe in the energy of what the broader cycle of life, the broader cycle of earth and the universe, where it is at the moment. And that is called your 0 point energy. And when we sort of go with that and we align with it, you don't have to, but the more you sort of go with I would almost say the predestined sort of plan for your life or energy for your life, the better your life works out. And so tarot is about getting you in that flow of your energy that is really your sort of, your real typical sort of energy, that sort of thing. So Major Arcana, it's the bigger messages. The deck of wands. Now, I want to make this very clear that I'm literally speaking very broadly here, so I'm not zooming in on the details. All right, even though you might find a lot of details and you might find this video very helpful, I'm not going to zoom into the minute sort of details. But the deck of wands is about your inner world. It's about your emotions. It's a more sort of divine feminine sort of energy. It is that inner world that we have, because your inner world is what obviously, sort of births your outer world. And then the Ace of Cups is typically about that outer world birthing, but it is very much more sort of like about the things that are breathing, the things that are alive. So the outer manifestation of your inner world, but sort of more animals, plants, humans, that sort of thing. Everybody that things that breathe, things that are alive, even though everything obviously has a flow of life through it. And then, whereas the Ace of Wands is a lot about your emotions and the divine feminine sort of energy, the Ace of Swords is a more logical sort of energy. It's that more sort of divine male energy. It's a lot more about logic as opposed to emotions. Okay. And then these are also, Swords is also more sort of like the lessons that we learn in life, the challenges that we have, the obstacles that we have. These are the things that we don't like. Okay. And then the deck of pentacles, or the all the pentacles cards, basically, they are very much about manifestation. And whereas cups is very much about sort of like, as we said, that breathing alive human, plant, animal manifestations, pentacles is more of that sort of like the more sort of like materialistic manifestations, money and the things that money can buy. Okay. So I'm going to speak about that a little bit more later. Let's move this up. Okay, let's go. Go, 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 guys. There you go. All right, so let's speak about these. So we're going to just run through these one by one. Now, with tarot, you will often, like if you watch, for example, tarot online, like on YouTube or something like that, a lot of times you will hear um, you will hear a lot of reference to, to planets and to zodiac signs and things like that. And I'm not going to go through the associations for all of the cards for that, but I am going to go through the associations for the major arcana. Okay, so um, when you, let's put it to you like this. So when you look at the major arcana, this is your from the time that you are born until the time that you die, but also cycles within cycles. And the thing to understand, which is very, very important with tarot, is that death is it's usually referring to the end of a cycle, which always goes along with a new cycle or a new beginning. So birth doesn't have to mean physical birth, as in human physical birth, and death doesn't have to mean, physical passing, as in the end of life, because we are working with cycles. And also when you look at the universe, um, uh, death and birth in itself, it's part of a much larger picture, so to speak, because we all energy, and energy can't really be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed or transmuted. So when you are born, it is seen as energy that is just basically transmuted into a different form. And when you pass, as in dying in this earthly realm, it is really just energy that is transformed in a different way. Okay. So the Fool, actually, I think I should have actually kept this upside down, because now I don't want to confuse you. All right, let's see, how am I going to do this? Hold me a second, please. I do apologize. One moment, please. All right, we're going to cover it up with a crystal. This is such a beautiful crystal. I remember I was really down this one time, and I said, universe, angels, I know that you exist, but, I really need a sign. And then I was here in Cape Town. I was walking the waterfront. I went to go visit one of my friends, and I just picked up these two big crystals. They were just there. It was quite amazing. Okay, so enough chatting for now. Let's get cracking. So the Fool. So the Fool is always about new beginnings, and the Fool is sort of that. This is sort of that energy of that soul just before it goes into human form. So if you want to think of this almost like, when you speak about the soul, you speak about your Akashic records, you speak about the reason why you sort of incarnate. The Fool is all about that. The Fool is all about new beginnings, and the Fool is not so much about being silly or stupid. It's rather more of that childlike sort of enthusiasm that we can have about life sometimes, where you sort of instinctively know that whatever you need will be provided for you, and it's going to be beautiful, and it's going to be perfect. The Fool is associated with Uranus energy, which is about change, it's about rebellion. It can be a little bit of a badass energy, the Fool, actually, but it is a very enlightened energy, and it's also one of those that would normally encourage you to go for something new when you might be feeling scared, you might be feeling uncertain. So it's a promise of beautiful new beginnings. And also, I would say that an energy that goes with the Fool is that the best is yet to come. Okay. Then we have the Magician. I really didn't think this out really, really well, did I now? So the Magician is associated with Mercury energy, and Mercury is about ideas and communication. And the Fool is one of those energies that lets you know, if you kind of look at it, scroll in its hand over here. So you came into this planet with a very good plan. There's the Fool, and so it's sort of like reminding you of this good plan that you came in with. You came in with this good plan. You knew that everything was fine. You knew that if you needed any sort of help or assistance or support or whatever, that you could call it forth. And if you also look, you will see that the four different elements of the minor arcana cards is all here on the table. Wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. So it lets you know that you have got what it takes to manifest the experience of life that you actually want to have. And in a sense, it almost encourages you really to embrace your power, you know, to not necessarily play small when it's time to shine. The High Priestess is associated with the moon. Sorry. And it's about sort of like needs and deep emotions. The High Priestess is, you can really think of it as the oracle that always speaks the truth. And the High Priestess is one of those energies that lets you know that when you are in balance, you know, when your divine male and divine feminine is in balance, you know, your emotions and your logic and that sort of thing is in balance, your yin and your yang, then you are actually the portal that opens things to new beginnings for you. You can see there's also a scroll that this character is holding over there, and it's very much that same sort of you know, energy that was called down by the magician. And then also at the back there's sort of like a curtain over there with pomegranates. Now you have to understand the time in which this deck was created, which was 1909, 1910, in sort of more older sort of you know, England, Britain, I believe. And so pomegranates was obviously a little bit of a scarcity back then, so that would have represented quite a lot of prosperity and abundance. So this is just really letting you know that when you can be in balance, that you are the initiator of new beginnings and beautiful manifestations in your life. All right. There's something else. Oh, yes. So also with this card, typically, now this is not a rule of thumb, but typically with the High Priestess, any card that's drawn after the High Priestess is usually, I would say, almost like amplified. So that message of that card is typically amplified. So what would usually happen when somebody draws the High Priestess, they would typically draw another card after that, because it will usually amplify that message. A lot of times people believe that the High Priestess is only about good news, but as I said, it's more about the oracle that speaks the truth. It's more sort of like calls you to attention and calls you to your own sort of power and being. Okay. And then we have the Empress. The Empress is all about abundance, and it's about that energy of three, you know, the energy that we all are, mind, body, spirit. And the Empress, even though it's about abundance, it's one of those cards that also says, you know what, everything's going to be okay, but it reminds you that there's a universal flow to everything, and that even though we have a individual experience of life, you know, and we get to experience individuality in this experience of life, that sorry, that we are, you know, that we're not separate from anything else or anyone else. So the Empress is letting, it speaks about abundance, it speaks about wonderful things coming, but it also encourages you to chill. Okay, it lets you know that, you know, it's probably in your best interest to chill a little bit. You might be sort of overwhelming yourself unnecessarily. That's very much what the Empress is also speaking about. And it reminds you of your divinity and your beauty of who you are, with those beautiful stars that is there on top of the head. And they also, yeah, the Empress is also associated with Venus energy, which is about beauty and pleasure. There's a link actually down below in the description. It is a free link for your free natal chart, which is, you know, when you were born and the energies that have an impact on your life and things like that. Just to obviously let you know, it's, you know, it is free, but it is not, I'm not sort of like associated with the company or anything like that. So it's not like they're paying me or anything like that. It's just, you know, I find it to be very informative, which is just why I'm recommending it to you. And it's down below in the description. There's a link for that. It's very, very helpful because it lets you understand your energy. I'm slightly deviating from the point now, but it's also important to understand that that you are more than just your sun sign or your zodiac sign, you know. And you get somebody like me, for example. I'm a Cancerian because I'm born on the 8th of July, 1982. But then you've got more in your chart as well. So you get your communication, for example, for me, that's in Gemini. My Venus is in Gemini, when Venus is about love and finance, because, you know, when we've got love, money comes, and, you know, it two go hand in hand together. And my rising is in Sagittarius, which is sort of how I do new starts and new beginnings. And that gives you a much broader perspective than just, you know, saying that I'm just a Cancerian. So that's actually quite helpful. If you want to look at that, it's very, very helpful for you. And it can open your eyes and very much into who you are, you know. Right, let's continue. So then you've got the Emperor, which is Aries energy. And Aries is very much about new beginning sort of energy. It's that energy of self-expression, basically. The Emperor is one of those cards that says to you that you can experience the world, because we can't really change the world, but we can be we can sort of like decide how we interact with the world and how we experience the world. It's very much about knowing who you are and understanding who you are. And when we know who we are, then the world can't sort of like throw you around. But obviously, with knowing who you are, it also takes that deeper inner work, because before you can know who you are, you need to obviously sort of understand who you are not, and so that is where a lot of sort of like shadow work and inner child healing and that sort of thing is coming in. But the Emperor is really letting you know, or reminding you, that you are the one that is sort of like in control of your life. You should be the captain of your ship. And if you're not the captain of your ship, it's a bit of a problem. Because, as I like to always remind everybody, when it comes to the energy of life, either you run the energy or the energy runs you. And if the energy runs you, that is when you don't really know who you are. And when you don't know who you are, the world is going to tell you who you are. And that is going to be from their perception, which might not necessarily be in alignment with who you would like to be. Okay. So it speaks about claiming your power, standing in your power. It also refers to your ancient sort of energy, your ancient sort of knowledge, your generational sort of knowing. Because a lot of times we sort of, when it comes to generational patterning and stuff like that, we tend to only focus on the negative. But when you, for example, do something like I do, which is regression hypnosis, you go like past life regression and that sort of thing. Yes, you go and do, oops, sorry about that. You go and do a lot of, let me just put this straight, sorry guys. You go and do a lot of sort of like healing and stuff like that in your past life, but you also, we've got a lot of skills that were refined in previous lifetimes, and like talents and stuff like that. So it's also about unlocking that. And the Emperor reminds you that you are so much more than just human. In actual fact, it reminds you that the human part of you that you see, it's sort of like it's a representation of who you are, but you are not your body. Your body is just it's sort of like your avatar in a sense. The you who is you is your ongoing consciousness that never ends. That's part of everything. So the Emperor reminds you of your power when it lets you know that no matter what comes your way, you have got what it takes. Okay. There, my stomach is growling because I obviously ate hours and hours ago. Um, the Hierophant. Um, the Hierophant can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes, and it is associated with Taurus energy. It's about values and self-esteem, and the Hierophant it's one of those, like when you look at numerology, for example, number 5 in numerology is all about new beginnings, and number 5 in tarot is about new beginnings as well. But it's normally about the challenges that we have with new beginnings, because the human mind, the human brain, the human psyche, the human being, so to speak, likes to hold on to things. The mind isn't necessarily incredibly fond of change. So this card lets you know that it's time for a new beginning. Typically, when you get this, you might feel a little bit stuck. You might also be in a very self-doubting sort of space. While I'm saying that, something to be very, very mindful of when it comes to tarot reading is, and something to remember when you do readings, you are, as the reader, you are there to deliver the message. You are not necessarily there to be liked and to be, for somebody to go like, yeah, you're so amazing and that sort of thing. You are a conduit for the message, and you are not the message itself. So be very mindful to get too personally involved in that. You really want to watch your ego when it comes to tarot. I'm not going to go into all the cleansing and clearing and all those kind of stuff. If that's something that you're interested in, there's obviously a whole lot of videos available online about protecting your energy. Or if you obviously decide to take the course, I go into all those details as well. This is just typically speaking about the meanings of the cards. So I'm reminding myself not to deviate from that, because I can start speaking about something and then I can go on for a whole hour. But the Hierophant is letting you know that it is but sorry, just let me actually interrupt myself there. So I just want to be very clear. It is very, very important, if you're gonna do tarot reading, that you do practice, energy protection, because It's important to know that you can channel information, very accurate information from a light size as well as from a light source as well as a dark source. So be very mindful that you always protect your energy, because you only want to channel messages from light. Okay. But the Hierophant is letting you know that you've got the keys that it takes. It's time to move forward. This is where Lao Tzu is often speaking about the journey of 1,000 miles begin with one single step, because this is a space where we typically doubt ourselves and where your sort of more logical mind is going to say to you, you know what, it's better to just stay here. Don't go forward. Don't do anything else. Just stay over here. It's better to be here. It's safer here, that sort of thing. But this card is letting you know that it's time to move forward. And it's also letting you know that as you go forward, whatever you need going forward along the way, it's going to be there for you. So, it's saying to you that it's time to jump. It's time to move forward in faith, but you're not moving forward alone. You will be fully supported as you go forth in life. All right. The Lovers, Gemini energy, choice, close relationships. This card used to be called Choice. When the Rider Waite came about, they made it the Lovers, but in the sort of like version previous to Rider Waite, the Marseille Tarot, it was called Choice. And the Lovers is one of those energies that lets you know, yes, it's got a little bit to do with love, but remember, tarot is about you, it's about your personal journey. And this card is reminding you that you have got divine male and divine feminine. Regardless of your gender, it lets you know that when you honor all the different parts of you, that your life can flow. And this is typically what twin flame energy is about. Twin flame energy has been very sort of like romanticized as this person that you need to look for, and if you find this person, then you're going to live happily ever after, like your story from Graham, from the brothers Graham or Grimm, so the brothers Grimm, or something like that. But twin flame energy is really, it's more about your relationship with life itself, with the essence of life, because you are an expression of life. It's about that balance that you have within yourself, and when that balance flows, then everything comes to you, including love. This could mean love, but this is more, this speaks more sort of like the relationship that you have with yourself, with your emotions, with your mental state, not mental health, your mental state, like how are you doing at the moment, and with the essence of life itself, and obviously with others. So this is more what this is speaking about. It's speaking about that inner balance, and it also reminds us that as human beings we are dual beings. So it reminds you not to forget that inner child that is within you, but it also reminds you to not be too sort of flippity floppity about life as well. So don't get too serious, but also don't get too playful. Okay, it speaks about the power of healthy balance, and when you obviously get that, then the sun can shine on all your wishes and your desires. It looks a little bit like Adam and Eve there in the Garden of Eden. Then we've got the Chariot, which is associated with Cancerian energy. It's about security and foundations. The Chariot is now. This is a card that I'm not even going too much into the detail, because with all of these cards, and the Chariot is one of those, you can probably speak about it for about an hour and a half, and then you only really touch on the basics. But what this card is speaking about is, again, it speaks about the duality that we have, both sides of the coin. If you experience the bad, then the good's also there, and the good and the bad's also there. But this is reminding you that, that there is a real strength in honoring all the parts of who you are and all of what you have. Because a lot of times, and this is a trap that we very easily get into when we sort of, enter like strong into religion or spirituality, that we only want to see the light sides and the love and light and the shiny stuff and those type of things. But this card reminds you that, again, you're a dual being. You've got light and you've got dark. And when you can, make sort of friends with your dark side, and you get to understand what your dark side is, and you get to understand what are the things in life that are, challenging your path in life, and that makes it harder for you in life, and what are the things that you need to work through, and what are your patterns, and your sort of like behaviors and stuff like that. So when you can have a good relationship with the dark side of yours as well as that light side of yours, and you can understand that you are a being of balance, that sort of gives you equal power and strength, because when we understand what our challenges are, and the areas that we need to work on, then those areas don't run our lives. But when we want to be sort of preferential, that, you only want to be light and you only want to be good and you only want to shine and that sort of thing, which is actually more sort of like an egotistical vain sort of thing, Um, when you almost don't want to have mistakes and faults and areas to work on and things like that, you kind of put yourself at a disadvantage. But um, when you can know who you are, and knowing who you are means that you have a very good understanding of your light side and your dark side. When you can know who you are, then your patterns can't really creep up on you. Then you are the captain of your ship. So when you see a pattern coming about, you'll be like, oh, I see you. I see you. We're not going to play that game. Okay. So the chariot is about moving forward in strength, but it's about moving forward in strength because you know who you are, you acknowledge, accept who you are, you work at loving yourself, liking yourself, approving of yourself, and working on yourself to become a better version of yourself. Okay. So you're not being run by your patterns, basically. Then we've got the strength card, number 8, there with Leo energy, artistic expression, ego. This card is, when you get this one, this is one that reminds you that, first of all, you are a divine, beautiful being of love and light. And no matter what you do, that is not going to change. You are that divine being. And in a universal sense, you are love and you will always be love and you are an expression of love. And as a human being, you are a physical expression of, universal possibility. But this is also a card that encourages you to do some inner work. This is a card that encourages you to, before you go to a next step, maybe you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself. Maybe you lost the plot a little bit. And I mean, it's easy in life. We all go in stages sometimes where we're very excited about something, a new job, a new whatever. And sometimes we lose ourselves a little bit in life. And the strength card is very much about that sort of, pause and reflect and let's have an objective look at things. What are some areas in life that you maybe need to give some attention to? What is some healing that you need to do? Maybe some forgiveness that you need to do either for others or for yourself. What are you holding on to? Because something here is holding you back, or something is sort of blocking the full expression of prosperity that you can experience. So this card encourages you to pause and to take an honest look sort of in the mirror and to just sort of reflect on your life a little bit first before, sort of moving forward. Okay. Otherwise, if you don't do the sort of healing that's sometimes required in the space, then going forward, it can actually prove to be more challenging. Okay. And then we've got the Hermit Virgo energy. It's all about work and routine. The Hermit is it's a card that encourages rest, especially physical bodily rest. This could be where you may be a little bit weary, where you've overwhelmed yourself, where you've overwhelmed the body. And something to understand is that, with the essence of life, the flow of life, the soul, so to speak, it flows through the body. And in order to have an optimal experience of life, in order to feel happy, in order to enjoy life, in order to embrace life, it is best for you to be in the best sort of bodily shape. So and something that I call conscious living, and I call myself a conscious living practitioner. It's about, first and foremost, acknowledging the body, appreciating the body, respecting the body. So this is a card that encourages maybe some time out to get some reflection. So this could be a day out at the spa, but it could maybe to treat yourself. But this is also, asking the very basic questions, which are very important questions. You know, are you getting proper hydration? Are you getting sufficient exercise? Maybe you need to take a little bit of a walk. You maybe need to get some, some fresh air. Maybe hear some birds sing. Is your diet, sufficient for you? Are you getting sufficient amount of sleep? So the hermit is it's because Virgo is that very logical energy which represents us, and you can see also here this character is holding a wand, and it's also got the beard over there, the white beard, which typically refers to wisdom, and then it's got the light over there. So the question here is, are you in flow with the allness of who you are, with the light of who you are? And the reason for that is, what is the bodily state like? Is the body good? Okay, so it encourages rest, it encourages time out, reflection, contemplation, that sort of thing. Then we've got the Wheel of Fortune, which is Jupiter energy, which is about luck and expansion. The Wheel of Fortune is a card that speaks about fortune coming into your life, good fortune, good luck. Jupiter is all about luck. Jupiter, the planet, it's all about luck, good luck, universal flow. It speaks about changes, not necessarily fast changes, maybe a little bit of slower changes, but it lets you know that you're very much ahead of the game. So almost like this devil that's flowing over here with the snake that's chasing it, this is a card that lets you know you might have some worries, you might have some fears, you might have some concerns, but the way that your energy is set up at the moment, you are still in a very good flow and things are shifting in a more positive direction as opposed to a negative direction in how it can sometimes see when we sort of get this card. So this is letting you know that things are shifting in a positive direction. It's a card of encouragement, it's a card of hope, and it lets you know sort of not to lose hope, that it's okay to actually hope right now, because sometimes as humans we don't want to hope because you feel almost like hope is setting you up for disappointment. This is letting you know not to worry, you got this, okay? And also the universe got you. It's a reminder that we are more than just human, okay? Because sometimes we think of ourselves as just human. And then we've got the Justice card, which is associated with Libra energy, harmony, and diplomacy. And justice is all about balance, all right? Once again, as we had earlier on there with the hero, no, with the High Priestess energy, okay? It once again, you've got those two pillars over there, and you've got that justice scales over there with the sword and all those type of things. And the justice card it's really typically a card of it's a good omen, so to speak. It lets you know that if there's any challenges that you're facing at the moment, maybe like legal matters, financial matters, maybe you've got like a hearing at work, or concerned about a divorce, or how some sort of thing like maybe some sort of I don't know, custody hearing or something like that is going to go. This is letting you know that things are shifting in your favor. So the outcome will be in your favor. All right. But also, it's obviously important to remember that what we are on the inside is basically reflected on the outside. So you want to have that inner balance first so that you can be in alignment with good things happening for you in life. But typically this card is letting you know that things are shifting in your favor and that outcomes will be in your favor. Okay. Then we've got the Hangman with Neptune energy, psychic reception and spirituality. The Hangman, very sort of almost like in line with the Hermit. It can get a little bit confusing sometimes between these two cards. But the Hangman is a card that also encourages you to sort of like take a break. But this is more sort of like encouraging you to take a mental break. It's sort of like more encouraging you to surrender to the idea that there's already a perfect plan for you. And the Hangman is also a card that can let you know that you might sort of run a little bit ahead of yourself. It is a card that encourages you to stop, to pause, to breathe, and to allow. It's a card that encourages faith, that sort of asks you to stop sort of maybe running a little bit too much and to allow beautiful things to come into your life. So as opposed to, maybe wanting to go so much, to go and claim everything that you want in life, the Hangman is more sort of like encouraging you to allow things to come into your life, to surrender to your highest good, to allow your spiritual team and source of all and the angels and the universe and whatever you want to call that which can't be named, to allow wonderful things to come into your life. Because sometimes when we're in a very go sort of energy, things can't typically come into your life because you are not sort of pausing and letting it happen. So this is a space that almost where the universe will say, listen, can you just hold it a moment, so that I can actually come about and bless you, that sort of thing. Okay. Then we've got the Death card. Ooh, this is one of those cards where people I think this is one of the scary cards in tarot. And normally, especially I think back in the day when you used to watch something on television, you'd normally have a gypsy and looking very sort of ominous and go like death. But the death card is about transformation, and it's about it's actually letting you know that the worst is behind you, and it's letting you know that that maybe you might have been in a very bad spot because maybe there are some lessons that you needed to learn. It also sort of lets you know that maybe you were sort of off track with yourself. You weren't sort of like in alignment with your life purpose and your soul purpose and that sort of things, with your destiny. But now, it lets you know that you are now walking into the light, into a space, and the whole universe is sort of like, welcoming you into that space. So remember, as we said in the beginning, death is about transformation, and this is positive transformation. So the death card in itself is very much about moving out of the dark and moving into the light, moving out of a difficult situation and moving into a lighter, easier situation. It lets you know that things are basically about to light up for you. Okay. And then we've got Temperance. And Temperance is Sagittarius energy, knowledge and philosophy. And Sagittarius energy is a very go, go, go sort of energy. And this is letting you, this card is really reminding you that, a lot of times we, we want to, how do I put this? Um, we look to the universe for answers. We look to source for answers. We look to God for answers, and we look to the moon and the sun and the angels and our guardians and our guides and etc., etc., etc. But this card reminds you of your power and the truth of who you are. And this card reminds you that as a human being, you are a physical representation of infinite universal possibility. And this card is sort of like saying to you, hey, 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 you are a divine being, and everything that you ask for is already, it's already in existence. It's already available. And it's encouraging you to really embrace your power and to embrace the allness of who you are. And when you really begin to see who you really are, it's about that unlocking of the heart. And then it lets you know that you can create anything for yourself that you want in this life. And with those two cups that's being poured there with the water, it also reminds you of the power of your emotions. Okay, and if you can see this character here is standing with one foot in the water and one foot sort of like there, sort of like on the riverbank. And water in tarot, it's about the flow of life, the essence of life, the ongoing flow of life, basically. And it lets you know that you've got so much more um, power, say, over how your experience of life goes. Now, so again, you might not be able to change life itself, but you have got quite a lot of dominion over how you experience life. And it's encouraging you to really embrace the allness of who you are. And it's also letting you know that. Or reminding you that you create your own experience of life mainly from your emotions. So what are you thinking about? What are you feeling about? Because whatever you think about is what you bring about. So what are you focusing on? Because whatever you're focusing on is what you're bringing about in your life. The Temperance card also sort of lets us know that that there's, how would I put this? There's still some, maybe some work to be done. There's still some lessons that needs to be learned. But it also lets you know that you are on a good track. So you may be not 100% there yet, but you're very much on your way. Okay. So whatever you're doing, if it's a good thing, keep on doing that. Okay. It encourages you to have faith and believe in yourself. And then the other one, ooh, the Devil card. And the Devil is Capricorn energy, sort of reputation and status and that sort of thing. Now, when you look at this card very, very closely, don't look at that one. When you look at this card very, very closely, you will see that there are two characters in this card. And they look very much the same as the characters that we had earlier on when we looked at the Lover's energy. Okay. Um, and this card in the Devil energy, these characters are seeming very trapped. It seems like they've got no sort of way out, like they are chained sort of, and this evil sort of character is keeping them here, almost like in a dungeony sort of space. But if you look at these characters really close, you will see that the chains around their necks are actually loose. So this is letting you know that you might be experiencing problems in life, challenges in life, personal battles and whatever in life. But it's also letting you know that a lot of the things that you are facing might be self-imposed, because a lot of times, we want to blame the devil or our partners and our neighbors and our colleagues and our whoever. But this card reminds you very powerfully, and in not a very sexy sort of way, but it reminds you very powerfully that your inner world creates your outer experience of life, and it's asking you to maybe do some introspection and to look at some of your choices in life. How are you acting? What are you putting out there? Because a lot of times we only focus on what we get, but we don't sort of look at what did we do to get what we get. Also, you will see that there's a pentagram over there that is sort of like upside down. Now, I'm just going to flip this a little bit the moment like that. So when you look at a pentagram, they normally go with the four elements: earth, water, air, and fire. And then spirit is normally the one on top. And so what it reminds you is that when you when you get that earth balance right, that human balance right, honoring the human side of yourself first, then that is when spirit can just flow. That is when miracles and blessings and all those things can flow. And typically when a pentagram it's upside down, that is often a sign that is used to sort of depict sort of things that are not so well, sometimes Satanism and things like that. And so what this is really speaking about, it's sort of like calling your attention, sorry, to the fact that a lot of the challenges that you can have on your life is self-imposed. Okay, so you sort of want to look at yourself first before you sort of look outwards. Of course, it doesn't encourage you to be a doormat. It doesn't encourage you to allow people to step over you. None of those type of things. It is just simply saying, well, maybe look at yourself first in the mirror and have that honest conversation with yourself first. Okay, what are the ways that you're keeping yourself in bondage in life? Then, and here's the other big one that people also get very challenged with sometimes with the Tower. The Tower is Mars energy, it's about aggression and survival. And Mars is sort of like the warlike sort of energy. And again, if you look at that link down below in the description for your free natal chart, it's always good to know where your Mars energy is, because Mars energy speaks about how you fight, how you argue, how you think when you are angry, when you are not sort of like, cool, calm, and collected. The Tower is an energy, it's a cleansing energy. It's a very spring cleaning sort of cleansing energy. Now, typically this is not a very nice energy to experience because it's a deep cleaning, it's a deep purging, it's the deep cleaning out. This is often the way that you thought life is going to be, the way you thought that everything is going to be, the future is going to be. It's almost like having that carpet ripped out from underneath you, and not in a very ceremonious sort of way. But the Tower doesn't only have to be doom and gloom. Because this is usually the energy, the things, the thought patterns, the mindset, the belief that is standing in the way of your greatest good. These are it's almost like the false sense of security that we build for ourselves sometimes in life. And a lot of times when let's say you say that you want to live your greatest experience of life, or you want to live your greatest good, and you say, source, I want to live my greatest good, and I want to release all of that which is not serving my greatest good. This is what the Tower is about. It's about releasing all of those things that are sort of blocking your flow of abundance. But it is a cleansing, and after the Tower, which is normally a very quick sort of energy, it makes way for wonderful things. And it makes way for beautiful things to flow into your life, because it's almost like cleaning the window. And then, once the window's clean, you can actually see to the outside and you can see the beautiful view. That's very much what the Tower is about. Then we get the Star, which is Aquarius energy. And it's about that sort of community, humanitarian sort of energy. The Star, typically it's about, it typically speaks about a big wish coming true and a whole lot of other beautiful things coming true with that. And this is sort of like, if you almost want to think, this is sort of like in character, almost like I suppose if you think almost like Greek mythology was sort of like the gods, Zeus and those dudes. This is sort of like divine blessings and abundance and things being poured out into your life, whichever direction you take. So the star energy is very much one of it's a card of very good luck. Because remember, you've done all that clearing out here in the tower, and because all that clearing out has been done, there is now a space where wonderful things can flow for you. Okay? So this is sort of one of those energies that also lets you know whichever direction you take, things will flow for you in a good way. So sometimes we say like, well, do I go this way, do I go that way? This card is letting you know that your energy is of such a nature at the moment, whichever way you go, things are going to be a-okay for you. You're going to be fine. Okay? The moon, Pisces energy, introspection, dreams, those sort of things. The moon speaks a lot about the power of your emotions. And if you even look at this character, you'll see it looks like a moon in all the different phases of the moon with a sun around there as well. And that sort of flare energy with these two wolves over here. As humans, we are all emotional beings. Now, a lot of times, when you look at different zodiac energies, you will maybe say like the air sign, they are more sort of like logical signs. They're not so much in their emotions, for example. But technically speaking, we are all emotional beings. We just sort of relate to emotions and express them in different ways. Okay? So this card is letting you know that, listen, things can go either way for you. It can go really, really positively, or it can go really, really badly. So it can go north or it can go south. It is what you focus upon which is going to determine the outcome for you. So and this it's almost like a little bit of a reminder of the power that you have. If you're gonna engage in gossiping and bickering and storms in a teacup and that sort of thing, then that's what you're going to get in life. But if you're going to choose to say, well, I don't like what's happening, but I choose to focus on more positivity, love, and light, and the best that I can be right now, and that sort of thing, doing your best to maintain a positive attitude, working at loving yourself and bettering yourself and that sort of thing, then you go in a different direction. So your emotions take you whichever way you go over here. It's also a card that lets you know that, for maybe the dreams that you have in your life, that your dreams can either die a very sudden death, or it can actually become incredibly prosperous. You decide which way it goes, and that decision is determined by what you choose to focus on. Okay. Then we've got what's that right? The moon? Yeah, just making sure that I've got the sequence right. And then we've got the sun, and the sun is typically also with Leo energy. It's about life force, the consciousness of life force. Now, remember in the very beginning, because tarot is about the journey of life. So in the very beginning, we had this character that sort of went out there into life and that sort of thing. And then you go through all your lessons and your trials and your tribulations and all those type of things. And then the sun energy is that energy that with this big red flag that this character is carrying. And remember also with the death card, let me just show you all quickly. Remember with the death card, we had a character that was riding on a white horse into a brighter space of life and being. This is that same sort of character, and it's almost like a rebirth, or a re-evoking from a dark side sort of energy. And this whole red flag over here, these are the things in life that would have been very challenging to you before. These are the things that were holding you back. These are the lessons that you needed to learn. And now that you've learned those lessons, and now that you approve of yourself and appreciate yourself and love yourself, and you've done all that inner work, now the things that could have been so debilitating before can now be your pillar of strength. It's now your next step in life. Okay. And I'll give you a very personal example from my own life. So I'm homosexual, and when I was younger, if somebody even slightly hinted towards the word gay or something like that, it's almost like you can shrink and shrivel up. But now that I love and approve of myself and I appreciate myself and all those type of things, I've done all that, whatever, dark night of the soul and type of things, nobody can really use that against me, because I no longer use it against myself. So this is the parts that could have been your biggest stumbling blocks before, but now that you have dealt with it and accepted that within yourself, it doesn't have that power over you anymore. And this is a beautiful shining light energy. The sun is also the highest vibrational energy in the whole tarot deck of all the 78 cards. This is a card of incredible prosperity. It speaks about such fantastic abundance. Then the Judgment card, which goes with Pluto energy, it's about the underworld and rebirth. Pluto is sort of like what is called one of the outer planets. And whereas a lot of sort of like with your planetary sort of setup, just to let you know, if you do ever look at your chart or anything like that, your natal chart, whereas a lot of planets, or what we call the inner planets, which are the ones closer to the sun, or closer to Earth, where they focus a lot on us as individuals in individuality. Pluto focuses on the bigger sort of picture, so it looks more at the pattern within a country or a stage or a phase. Like for a moment, we've got COVID, for example. That's more a Pluto sort of energy. It looks at the larger cycles of things, with humanity moving forward, releasing those bigger conglomerate collective sort of patterns, global sort of upliftment, spiritual upliftment, that sort of thing. Pluto, or sorry, the Judgment card is also that energy that sort of like lets you know that you've got a higher choice. There's a better choice available for you. It lets you know that, sort of like coming out of your coffin over there, you've gone through your cycles of life, you've learned your lessons, and it's time to get ready to go to a next phase. So this could also speak about where we sometimes fall into complacency in life, and we fall into a pattern, and then we don't feel so happy and we don't feel fulfilled, and we've got unhealthy coping mechanisms and those sort of things. It's letting you know that it's time to take things to the next level. Okay, it's time to shine and not to hide away. And then finally, we have got the world with Saturn energy, sort of like restriction and knowledge. But also, there's those two scrolls. Remember the beginning, we had the one scroll. Let me just show you. So yeah, the Chariot came in, and then with the Magician, there was the one scroll, the knowledge that you have, calling that knowledge forth into life, building all of that. And then with the High Priestess, when you're balancing, that you can, sort of have more and all that sort of stuff. The world it's the ending of a cycle. You've done everything that you needed to do. You've learned your lessons. You've basically done everything. You've gained the knowledge. You've gained the experience. You've done everything. It's time for you to pack your bags and to scoot. Okay, this is speaking about endings, which is also new beginnings, and it is asking you to release with faith and to release graciously, because a lot of times with this energy, and this is often the reason why a lot of people often would like to have a tarot reading, because you feel I've done everything right and now I'm feeling stuck. And why am I feeling stuck? Because all my dreams have been fulfilled and all my wishes have been fulfilled. And it says, yes, fantastic, you've done great. It's time to go to the next level. Okay. And I think a very relatable sort of human example for that would be when you think, for example, that you've got your dream partner, you've got kids if you wanted it, pets, home, apartment, picket fence, penthouse, whatever you want to have, dream car, dream career, dream whatever. So you've got everything that you ever wanted, and it's more amazing than you ever wanted. Now what? Okay, and this card is letting you know that it's time to open yourself to new things now. Um, a lot of times when we won't release, that is when we start feeling unfulfilled in our lives. Okay, right. So those are the major arcana cards. Now I'm going to be a lot faster with the minor arcana ones because this video is already like an hour. So I'm not going to go too much into the descriptions with this one. All I'm going to do is I am just going to give you the basic meanings of the cards. Just to let you know, so just before we get into it, so aces, so, you get, with all the cards, you get ace, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you get page, knights, queens, and kings. Okay, so aces is typically divine intervention. 2 is normally things coming together. 3 is encouraging you to embrace your power. 4 is about balance. 5 is about new beginnings. 6 is a number of hope and love, because when you turn 6 around, it becomes 9. 7 is the number that lets you know that everything is perfectly set up. 8 is a number of infinity and flow. 9 is a number that lets you know it's perfect to have hope now. It's time for the next level. 10 is a cycle of completion. Pages are typically sort of like epiphanies, mind thoughts, ideas, inspirations, that sort of things. Knights is usually going for things. Knights come a little bit with a warning. It just asks you to just be mindful that you might not be a little bit too impulsive with things. Don't be careful you might have a good plan, but just be careful to not go too fast too soon. That sort of thing. Let's not lose focus. Queens is normally about hard work, but hard work that serves you positively, and Kings is about reaching the end of a cycle, reaching completion and reaching success. Okay. So Ace of Wands, divine intervention, heart opening, typically maybe meeting like a great new friend. It's about somehow divine intervention in a very beautiful, positive way. Could be love, could be a new friend, could be a puppy, could be finding that wonderful dream that you always desired. The Two of Wands is this is a space of contemplation. Do I stay or do I go? And this is a space that lets you know you can actually do either. You can either stay or you can go. Because this is very much that pros and cons sort of energy, which is best for me, this or that. This is letting you know that you might be open to new adventures, or there might be some travels that are, that are ahead for you. And it's letting you know that staying might be good, but you might be a little bit bored. If you do take a trip, if you do embrace, if you do sort of like, venture into the world, then it will be very successful for you. Three of Wands is that, what did I say Pentacles? Oh, sorry, I meant Wands, just in case. I can't remember, but I meant Wands. Okay. Three of Wands is an energy. This is very much letting you know that you are exactly where it is that you need to be. Your ship is in the harbor. Wonderful things are coming to you. This is about seeing prosperity coming your way. If you kind of like, if you imagine yourself standing sort of like on the shore, on the riverbank or whatever, on the harbor, this is about seeing your ships coming to the harbor. This is letting you know that good things are actually coming to you. Okay. The Four of Wands is typically called the marriage card. It's about emotional balance within. And when you are balanced within your emotions, within the inside, wonderful things can come to you, because it's almost like that portal of prosperity. Okay? So this is a card that lets you know that good things are actually coming your way. Good things are heading your way. You can be looking forward to wonderful things. For some reason, when I typically get this card, it usually refers to, there's usually some maybe like a newborn or like a young girl or something like that involved. Um, as you go through tarot, you will normally find that certain cards will give you certain messages, and as you go along and you practice, you will get more acquainted with that. The Five of Wands is this is the energy that lets you know that you might be giving your attention to things that you don't necessarily need to be giving your attention to. So it's one of those that also says, if you may be unhappy, if you're not feeling fulfilled, what are you giving your attention to? What are the folks that you're hanging out with? Are you hanging out with gossips? Are you gossiping yourself? Are you maybe trying to sort of put a plaster on things that you know that you need to actually work on? So instead of facing your patterns, are you rather focusing on other things? Are you being wasteful with your energy? Because this is a space where you'd normally feel unhappy and unfulfilled and maybe taken advantage of and that sort of thing. But this is one that says to you, well, what are you giving your attention to? How can you maybe better direct your attention? Okay. Also with that Five of Wands, it also speaks about, if you are maybe, do you maybe have savior mentality? Are you giving things, what is the intention that you're giving with? Are you giving and saying, oh, I'm such a good person and I always do nice stuff and nobody ever cares about me and I'm such a nice person, da, 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 da. And it's sort of asking you to look at your motivation behind the things that you do. What is your intention? The Six of Wands is speaking about success. This is about stepping in, there's that horse again. This is about stepping into success. This is calling you into that space of standing in your power, and when it's time for you to shine and you won't shine, it causes disharmony. So this is asking you basically, the Six of Wands is asking you basically to step into that space in life that you maybe work really hard for. If you work really hard towards something, it's time for those rewards right now. Okay. And it's time for you to take center stage. Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands it's one of those again that is almost the same as Five of Wands, that is asking you, what unnecessary battles are you fighting? What is it that you may be holding on to? What sort of forgiveness is it that you wouldn't allow into your life? What is it that you blame others for that you don't own that energy? You know, what are those things in life that are, what sort of storms in a teacup are you yourself entertaining? You know, are you maybe even creating? The Seven of Wands can be very much a space of almost unhealthy escapism, you know, where you create a whole lot of drama and things, often not being aware of it, often being aware of it, in order to not face what you actually know it's time that you need to face. This could also be about, you know, are you entering toxic relationships or friendships? Are you self-sabotaging? You know, how are you basically investing in energy that is not going to serve you well? You know, how are you being your own worst enemy, basically? Okay. And a lot of times, these are the things in life that we don't want to look at. You know, you'll be like, I will look at everything, but I wish I can sort of like skip around this one. This is the one that you don't want to skip around, but it's typically the things that you don't want to look at because this is looking at the self. Okay. And it's the part of us that is not pretty. The Eight of Wands is about inner harmony, it's about inner balance, it's about inner flow. This is really beautiful. This is about a beautiful, balanced utopia on the inside. And this is letting you know that your inside, your inner energy, your inner world is of such a nature that it starts to actually create a beautiful outside for you. The Nine of Wands, the Nine of Wands is, this is a bit of a tricky one sometimes, but the Nine of Wands is, it's one of those things where there might be a lot of things in your life that are going really, really beautiful. A lot of things are very prosperous, it's very balanced, everything is wonderful, but there's this one thing that you are holding on to. And there's this one thing that you might be holding on to so firmly that you know that it's almost impossible to let it go. And this is where you will often hear folks use things like, but you don't understand how they make me feel. You don't understand what happened to me. You don't understand what I had to go through. You know, this is about defending your patterns. And this is about defending a pattern that is not serving you well and that is having a negative effect on all the other things in your life. You know, this is typically, say you were a parent and you're holding on to maybe something in childhood that you haven't forgiven your parents for. Then you sort of like, you know, play out those patterns in your own life. You know, this is sort of like those things in life that leads to disappointments and upset and divorces and those sort of things, because this is asking you which unhealthy patterns within yourself are you defending. Okay. 10 of Wands, it's time to let certain things go. This is time for forgiveness. It's time to let go. It's time to release. Don't hold on to stuff. Okay? This is one of those that is speaking about let the past go. This is one of those where people often speak about, you know, having to accept an apology that you're probably never going to get, an explanation that you won't get, that sort of thing. Let me just have some water. And sorry, sugar flower, thank you so much, I really appreciate that. And this is about letting go. This is about releasing. This is saying to you, you know what, there's no point in holding on to this, just let it go. Okay. This is almost like one of those sort of like, it is what it was sort of energies. It is what it was. You can't change it, you can't change them, but you can choose to no longer be a victim. This is what the Ten of Wands is talking about. And then we've got the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is one of those where you say, well, maybe there's a new idea. This is where you start contemplating new stuff. You know, maybe it's time for new love. Maybe it's time to look at myself differently. Maybe it's time to love my body more. You know, these are those ideas that we normally get when you ask for universal inspiration, you know, universal guidance sort of things. These are the signs that we get. These are the love that the angels give us. This is the teacher showing up at the right time. This is basically what Page of Wands is all about. And normally when you sort of like do a reading for someone, you say to them, well, what has been happening? You know, so maybe everything was very gross in your life, but what is this one or two things that are going well? That sort of thing. Knight of Wands. This is about going for things, which is really, really great. But with the Knight of Wands, it's just one of those that it almost asks you that sort of question of like, it's wonderful that you're going for things. It's great that you're going for love and shine and all those type of things. But have you thought this through well? Are you not maybe in a space where you are so hopeful for something that you're staring yourself blind into the obvious, say maybe you want to go into a new relationship because love is like one of those things that we all get, is that like it's wonderful to want to go for new things, to want to go for love, but are you going from it, is it maybe just because you're lonely, or let's say a big one, for example, let's say you decide to move. You've got some problems with your neighbors, or you decide to leave a job, and it's wonderful for you to follow your heart and your inspiration and your motivation and all of those things. But this is just letting you know that it's always best to move from a point of love. To try your best to move from a point of peace, to not try and take decisions from a point of anger, because the intention that you have behind the action determines the outcome. Okay, so the motivation is important. Queen of Wands is letting you know whatever you're doing, it's wonderful. Keep on doing it. There with that black cat, it's a little bit of our witchy sort of energy coming out there, the positive, magical energy within yourself for who you are. And the Queen of Wands is one of those energies that says, you know what, fantastic job, keep on going. You're doing really, really well. And obviously with King of Wands, this is amazing, really, really beautiful emotional fulfillment, letting you know that, within yourself, you are where you want to be in order to experience what it is that you'd like to experience. Okay. This is way longer than I thought it's going to be, but that's all good. All right, so Ace of Cups, divine intervention. Ace of Cups is about flow. It's about miracles. It's about blessings. It's about wonderful things. It's about really, really beautiful things coming into your life and getting better as it goes along. Okay? This is a lot of times when we get this card, quite interestingly enough, a lot of times when you get this card is maybe something really great is happening in your life. So you maybe meet that nice person, you get that nice promotion, or you get that job, or you get whatever it is that you want to have. Or even say, let's say, for example, you started to focus, maybe you were a little bit bigger and you started to focus on health. So you've got a body that you're much more happy with. And now those other patterns are starting to kick in. Oh my goodness, this and that and that and that. Ace of Cups is letting you know whatever you're doing, you're in a very good track. You're on a good track, you're on a good flow. Keep on doing what you are doing. And as you keep on doing what you are doing, the blessings will keep on flowing and it will get better and better and more as you go along. Okay. Two of Cups is about things coming together. Love, contracts, whatever happens here, whatever comes together here, typically has a positive sort of impact on health. It normally has a positive impact on emotional health, mental health, but also especially physical health. So not necessarily you, but maybe somebody in your company. So, maybe I don't know, like maybe you were a little bit off track and your family was very concerned about you. But now that whatever it is that you are doing over here, so whether it is that you are getting into love or like a job, it could be contracts coming together, it sort of brings a sense of peace of mind for everybody involved. Okay. I love the Three of Cups. This is probably like one of my favorite cards in the whole tarot deck. The Three of Cups is speaking about unity. It speaks about kings coming together. It speaks about a period of loneliness coming to an end. It speaks about meeting with your soul family. Things about to become better than they actually seem at the moment, great potential. This is about hooking up with those wonderful soul family where you can just be yourself. You can just be wacky and weird and, you can just really be you. This is really about you meeting up with your tribe. It's very good news. The Four of Cups. Now, the Four of Cups is also one of those cards that you can literally speak about for about 2 hours. But the Four of Cups is one of those energies where sometimes unexpected things come into your life and you sort of, in a space where you maybe don't even contemplate it, you'll be like, well, I'm fine. I got my stuff together. I got what I need. This is a card that lets you know that, you might want to at least consider the offer that comes into your life. But in the same token, it also depends on where you are in your journey. Because sometimes an offer can come in, but maybe, you really feel that you first want to, that you've kind of got yourself sorted here at the moment. So you don't sort of maybe want to, include anything else in your life at the moment. So it could be speaking about that. But it is also one of those that says, well, if an offer comes about and you're 100% convinced that it's not for you, instead of just point blank saying no and refusing, you can say, well, can I have 2 days to think about it? That sort of thing. So even this is one of those that says, instead of just refusing right away, you might want to say, well, even if you're convinced that it's not for you, you want to say, let me think about it. Let me give it a thought, that sort of thing. Consulting maybe somebody that for a fact has got your best intentions at heart before then making that final decision. Okay. The Five of Cups is asking you, are you maybe focused a little bit too much on the past? These sort of like, it's speaking about the spilt milk. What are the things in life that already happened? Certain things in life happened and we can't really change them. They happened, they were the way that they were meant to be that way. You can't really change the past. And this is an energy that sort of let's ask you, haven't you maybe gotten into a space in life where you started becoming sort of stuck in the past? Again, that energy of like, well, they did this to me. Well, yes, maybe they did, but by holding on to it, you are keeping on doing it to yourself now. And when we hold on to the past, we don't see the opportunities of prosperity, the things that can come together. Remember with that Two of Cups energy over there? We're not seeing the things that can actually come together for us, okay? And it's not even about staring yourself blind into the blessings that's available to you. It's about not even seeing them at all because being too focused on the past, okay? It's a card that asks you for forgiveness, forgiving them, letting it go, forgiving yourself, that sort of thing. The Six of Cups, it's very much about that self-forgiveness again. It's about, you know, it's about inner child healing. It's about what are the things from childhood that you might be holding on to, with our parents, for example, sometimes. And when we come to understand, and I think this is something wonderful that we begin to understand as we grow older, because at the moment I'm like 39 and a half, and obviously when I was 8 years old, for example, I thought when people are like 21, they've got life together. And, at almost 40, I realized that, well, not really always, you still have questions and stuff. And, sorry, the Six of Cups is one of those energies that says to you, well, you know, it might be time to forgive the past. It might be time to forgive your parents. It might be time to forgive yourself. Maybe you lost a scholarship or you lost your house or whatever it is that you're holding on to. Let it go. Okay? Don't. It's almost one of those reminders, really, that does follow very closely on the Five of Cups that lets you know that you are the one that is continuing a pattern that you might be blaming others for. Okay. Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups, short and sweet. Literally everything that glitters isn't gold, But it also lets you know there's a lot of opportunities. And it's also a card that encourages you to not be so cautious and so afraid of things that and how they may go wrong that you never take a risk, that you never take a chance. Okay, because that can easily happen in life. So this is saying to you like, well, you're gonna make mistakes, but that's life. That's how we grow. That's how we learn. Okay, but it reminds you that if you never take a risk, then you're never gonna go anywhere. Okay. And it could also be a card that lets you know that you might want to rethink your choices at the moment. You might be a little bit lost in your own life. It might be time to do a little bit of contemplation here to look at things honestly, especially when it comes to to the closer things in life, relationships, the dream career, the job that you finally have, the business that you finally started. This is a question of like, haven't you maybe lost your way, maybe just a little bit along the way, or aren't you maybe lying to yourself just a little bit? Okay. The Eight of Cups, it's typically a card that's obviously referred to as walking away from a lot of things in life. But the Eight of Cups is also very much a card of walking towards. You know, it's about understanding that it's time to go to that next level. It's about understanding that it's time to embrace something new. It's about understanding when it's time to move on. And it's also speaking about the importance of not only understanding what it is that you need to do, but actually having the bravery and that courage to be brave to take that next step, because there's a big difference between knowing what to do and actually doing what you know that you should do. And so this is a card that actually lets you know that it is time to move forward, it is time for growth, it is time for expansion. Okay. Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups are those small little worries that, well, let's rephrase that. Small worries in a universal sense that might seem like big things to you. Nine of Cups is very much like, don't sweat the small stuff. It speaks about the dangers of having a mentality of perfectionism. It must be like this. It must be like that. This is a card that we typically have where we almost like too hard on yourself. It's letting you know that you've done everything that you needed to do. Let the rest happen. This is a card that lets you know you can take a little bit of a rest and a break now. You can actually start expecting wonderful things to come your way. Okay? Like good job, shoulders. Good job, soldier. 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is wonderful. 10 of Cups is that sense of families, a sense of togetherness. This is that dream that we have for our life. When you speak about, everybody obviously has a different sort of like, idea of what the perfect life is for them, the perfect family, the perfect, sort of setup. 10 of Cups is speaking about that, all of that coming about and being so much more amazing than you might have actually initially imagined. It's that sense of finding like that dream purpose in this world, finding that golden utopia, that golden nugget, and just getting better and better and better and better all the time. It's emotional fulfillment. Page of Cups. You might want to be open to new ideas. You might want to be open to new adventures and new ventures and new, if you're feeling sort of stuck, maybe, this could be a space where you might want to be less rigid with yourself, be less afraid of making mistakes. Try not to almost like try not to almost like be your own worst enemy by trying be this is typically something that speaks of like be careful of that perception that you have to be perfect. Okay. It's sort of like you've done your best. Maybe consider moving to a new space, maybe consider being with someone new, consider opening your heart, consider accepting love, but also maybe consider that maybe other people's ideas. Maybe you don't have the best way around this. Maybe there are a better way around this. Be open to other people's perceptions around the situation. And just being open to other people's perceptions doesn't mean that you're giving your power away. Okay? So, be open to new things. Oops. Knight of Cups. Knight of Cups is, it's about moving forward in life. It's about going forward in life. It's about saying, you know what, go for your dreams, go for your ambitions, go for what makes your heart happy, go for what excites you, go for what motivates you, go for it by all means. Give yourself a chance in life. Don't be scared to give yourself a chance in life, but just be very careful that you don't become so motivated that you start getting tunnel vision. Be careful that you don't become so fixated by what it is that your heart desires that you maybe lose your sense of humanity and your sense of compassion and your sense of kindness. Okay. Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups, basically short and sweet. This is good intentions meeting good intentions. This is speaking about the power of intention, the power of positivity, the power of doing a good job, the power of honesty. This is also a card that lets you know that if you've been really, if your intentions were good and your motivations were good, sometimes in life we feel overlooked. We feel that things are unfair to us, but it's letting you know that sometimes, even though it might seem you lost out on something really what your heart desired, you may not see it that way right now, but you might have actually dodged the bullet. So it says to keep on doing what you are doing because positivity is coming your way. It also speaks about money, positively about money coming your way. Okay. And then, of course, with the King of Cups is that beautiful sense of arrival, and it lets you know that your world is basically about to become really, really beautiful. You know, it's really, really flow. And it also reminds you that sometimes your life might become beautiful, but other people around you, they still have challenges. And this reminds you that, you know, that you can be there for others, but also be careful that you don't want to become other people's savior. Just because you go to that next level doesn't necessarily mean that others are ready to go to that next level as well, because sometimes they are not. And it's speaking about sometimes we have to bless others, wish them the best, but then need to have the willingness to sort of, you know, separately go our different paths. Okay. More water. All right. Aces or swords. Swords are the things in life that we don't like. These are our problems. These are our challenges. These are the things that make us lose sleep. These are the things that make us angry. Um, these are our lessons. This is about mindset. This is about logic. It's the things that we don't like, but it's the things that also really powerfully shape us. Okay, so Ace of Swords is about typically. It's still divine intervention, even though it doesn't feel this way. This is a blessing that typically doesn't feel like a blessing at all. Okay. This is that space where you normally learn something, find out something that you don't like. And it can be really crappy things sometimes. You know, it could be like maybe you find out that, you know, that your fiance is cheating, that sort of thing, you know. Um, Maybe you thought there was money available for something and then you find out but the coffers are empty. This is one of those things, this is those things in life where you find out a truth that you really, really don't like. But this is one of those that it's better to find it out sooner as opposed to later. You know, so even though it doesn't feel like a blessing at the time, it actually is, because it might seem like a catastrophe right now, but it sort of prevents bigger catastrophe going forward. The Two of Swords is the energy of having actually already arrived, um, you know, where you've already sort of reached what it is that you would like to reach, but maybe not seeing that. You might still be in a bit of a running energy. You know, sometimes we get so much in a striving, running energy that we don't realize that it was, you know, that we've actually already reached what we wanted, you know. So, um, this is one of those that we really sort of, you know, ask, well, you know, when you really look around and you're really honest, haven't you already reached what you wanted to reach? You know, it's one of those where you would kind of say, let's pause a moment, let's reflect and look back. What were your intentions initially? What were your motivations initially? What was your reasons for starting? And haven't you maybe already reached what you wanted to reach? Because this is the energy of feeling that maybe things are not going your way. But then sometimes when we contemplate, we realize that we have already arrived where it is that we wanted to arrive. And it might be time to either stop and have gratitude and enjoy things, or maybe it might be time to maybe reassess the plan a little bit if you want to go in a different direction, you know, that sort of thing. Even another one year would sometimes be like, now that you have achieved what you set out to achieve and you're feeling unfulfilled, is this maybe what you wanted to have in the first place? So it can be a bit of a big lesson as well. It can be a bit of an eye opener. Three of Swords is a card that lets you know that it reminds you of your strength. It reminds you that you survived. It reminds you of the challenges in life that you have survived through. It reminds you of your own inner strength. It reminds you of your power. It lets you know that remember that situation over there, that situation didn't break you. And if you are looking for a silver lining, then go look in the mirror and look in your own eyes, because you are the silver lining that you are looking for. Okay? Um, it's letting you know that you've got this. You might be stronger than you give yourself credit for. Okay? And it's one of those where in life there's always going to be problems, but it's letting you know that the problem doesn't have to break you. Okay. The Four of Swords is about going into the deeper strength of yourself. So it obviously follows very closely on the Three of Swords, where you've learned your lessons and you've gained what you needed to gain, and it's let you know where you are right now. You've got what it takes to get through the situation. It's about reaching the deeper level of strength of yours. It's time to go to that next level. It's time to embrace your power, your allness, your inner strength. Maybe it's time. It could also be time to maybe start doing some inner work. Um, Stop focusing on others and basically focus on the self. Okay, you with this energy, your energy might be scattered and all over the place. And you may have sort of lost focus on yourself, and when we lose focus on ourselves, then obviously things don't work out. With the Five of Swords. Five of Swords is basically, this is where, what I normally say, when drama comes to knock on your door, you don't have to answer. When somebody sends you a text message or calls you or whatever, and this is going to be dramatic, and this is going to, be all negative and derogatory and insulting and break your spirit and stuff like that, don't answer that call. Okay, this is about those past fights that have been fought, and this is normally when those fights are coming back again. Somebody tries to pick a fight with you again, or maybe you had this beautiful relationship with someone, or like a business or something, and they conned you, they cheated you, they lied to you, they whatever, and they come back and they're like, you know what, I'm so sorry, and you can accept the forgiveness by all means. All means you can accept the forgiveness, but this is almost saying, like, don't step into the same trap twice. Okay, it didn't work out before, and if you know for a fact it's not going to work out this time around again, don't sort of burn yourself the second time around yourself. Okay, leave the past in the past with forgiveness. With the Six of Swords is about encouraging you to be open to other people's ideas. It asks you a very important question, and that is like, are you open to other people's ideas? Haven't you maybe stepped into a space where you have become a little bit full of yourself? Where you may be operating from the very negative side of the ego. Say for example, you've got a business and you've got a board, and or like a school project or whatever. There's always, not always, a lot of times is that one person that sort of want to run the show, that will say to everybody else, well, what is everybody else's ideas, but you're not really open to the ideas, that sort of thing. This is a bit of a gaslighting space. And you remember tarot's about you. So this is asking, have you not maybe gone into a little bit of that space? Also, um, you know, if you're not maybe in a little bit of a victim mentality or in a savior mentality, where you also want to kind of look at your life in the sense of, this is a very broad card, obviously. All of them really are, but this is also one of those spaces where you are also being asked sometimes, and it always depends on the cards that go around with it. Have you maybe, it might be time to take things back to the drawing board, where maybe you've had good intentions, but maybe you've sort of lost focus on yourself a little bit, where your focus has become so much on others that you are basically neglecting yourself and turning yourself into a victim. So this is really asking you um, to very honestly look at your sort of like your relations that you have in life and how balanced they actually are, and um, how unbalanced they might be from your side, okay, not from other people's side. This is about claiming and owning your stuff. um, Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords is such a cool energy. Seven of Swords it's a very peacemaker sort of energy. And Seven of Swords is one of those that really says to you, you know, you've done really great. You've done wonderful forgiveness. You've been able to grow. You've moved forward. You know, you've really, really expanded in life. Don't go back to your negative patterns. Okay? Don't become a savior again. You know, you've done what you could do. It's time for you to now step forward. This is almost like cutting your losses. So whatever happened, this is what you were able to salvage. Just roll with that. Okay. Don't be careful to not um, be careful to not try and maybe get more out of a deal. And as a direct result of that, you actually almost get re-immersed into sort of like a pattern or a flow that is not going to work well for you. Okay. The Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords is the energy of being very stuck, feeling like you've got no options left, feeling like whichever way you turn, that every direction can be treacherous for you. And this is a space that sort of reminds us that easy does it. You know, easy flow is maybe better than sort of trying to push too hard. Okay, small steps, baby steps, little bit by little bit. If you're going to lose, try to make the negative impact as little as possible. So here, where you're not sure which way to go, and it seems like help is not arriving for you, maybe gently shifting to one side and gently shifting to another side. So if you get hurt, that it's not sort of like catastrophic. Okay, so this is encouraging you to be patient with yourself, to be kind to yourself, and this is a space where you want to focus on yourself. Okay, this is a space where um, your cup is completely empty and it's completely bone dry. You've got nothing to give. So this is a space that says this. It's time to really focus on yourself now. Doesn't matter what it takes. It's time to focus on yourself, because any drastic moves over here will basically spell catastrophe for you. Okay, and the people that you think will come save you will not come save you. They may sort of laugh at you. The Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is one of those energies of being very worried, being very concerned, maybe not sleeping well. Now, this duvet over here, it's sort of speaking about prosperity. It's speaking about the blessings in life that are right in front of us, the solutions that are right in front of us. But you're not seeing it because you are mentally exhausted, because you are emotionally overwhelmed. Okay, it's speaking about the the sort of tight spots that we can run ourselves into as people sometimes. Okay, um, it's a very over. It's a feeling of. It's a space of feeling very overwhelmed. With the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Swords is this is one of those cards that looks very ominous as well, and I think it scares people sometimes when when you don't know tarot. Um, the Ten of Swords is one of those that really says, you know what, it's time to cut your losses. It's time to cut those losses, whatever those losses may be. This is a space where whatever you try to save, whoever you try to save, it's basically going to be to your detriment. Okay. This is a space of saying that is the past, that is what happened, it is what it was, it's time to move on. Page of Swords. Page of Swords is about new ideas. It's about new breakthrough ideas. It could be really brilliant ideas that comes through with Page of Swords. Page of Swords is normally that sort of like epiphany where you go like, that's a nice idea. I haven't thought about that. Okay. Knight of Swords. Knight is always Knight of Swords. It's about going for things. It says to you, yes, it's all fine and well. Fight for what you want. Fight for what's important for you. Stand up for yourself. Speak up for yourself. But in all of that, just don't forget who you are. Okay, don't lose. And this is something that can happen quite easily. When we stand up for ourselves or defend ourselves or stuff like that. You can stand up for yourself and you can defend yourself and all of those things, but just be mindful that you don't forget who you are. Okay, don't defend yourself so much that you kind of lose yourself in the equation of doing so. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is obviously, again, a whole lot of different things that it can be, but Queen of Swords is also one of those that says to really great ideas, all really really wonderful, but let's just take a moment, let's just breathe, let's just have a cup of tea, and let's just think about this. Okay, going in a good direction, all very, very good. But let's maybe just look at the finer details. Okay, let's maybe look at the finer motivations, that sort of thing. And then with the King of Swords, this is that wonderful energy that says to you, listen, you've got this. This is also a time when a lot of times we feel like, well, somebody should sort this out. Somebody should make a decision. Somebody should make a choice. Somebody should take control of this. That somebody is you. This is calling you to leadership. Okay. And then lastly, Pentacles. So now you've done all of those things. You've got your emotions balanced. You've got your thoughts balanced. You've got all of those things. And now, obviously, when we've got all our minds sorted, that is when life starts giving us wonderful things. So Ace of Pentacles, divine intervention. This is about breakthroughs, positive breakthroughs, money, unexpected money, maybe inheritance, winning the lottery, getting a promotion, all of those type of things. Now, it doesn't have to mean physical, actual cash, but it could be an opportunity for growth. It could also be a bright idea that you get. Okay, but it speaks about a sudden influx of money or the things that money can buy. So maybe you don't get money, but maybe you get a house, or you maybe get a whole lot of, say you've got like a business or something, you get a whole lot of bookings, something like that. Okay. The Two of Pentacles is speaking about positive change. So if you may be in a space where you might feel like nothing is working out, that sort of thing, the Two of Pentacles is about positive change, okay? Positive influx of things. The Three of Pentacles is letting you know, so the representative in this card is you over here, and these are your two choices over here. So the Three of Pentacles is basically one of those cards where you are right now at a space of a new beginning. And you usually have a choice over here. You can either do things the way that they were before, which is usually the safe choice, it's the logical choice, it's the one that feels right, like when people basically say better the devil that you know, there is normally that sort of space. So you can either do that, or you can open yourself to a new change. You can take a leap of faith. You can step forward. You can invest in yourself. You can, if you must gamble on yourself. And this is one of those spaces that actually lets you know that whilst you can take the choice that you did before, you already know where that brings you, because it typically brings you back to where you are right now. And you're not going to like it. It's probably going to be worse than it was before. But if you take a new step in faith, then it might work out so much better than you actually imagine. Four of Pentacles is speaking about balance between divine male and feminine. It lets you know that this is one of those cards that says to you, know what, if something makes complete sense to you emotionally in your heart, fantastic. But just check in with your logic as well, And when something makes 100% logical sense of you, brilliant. But just check in with your emotions as well. Just make sure that things are balanced. And when things are balanced both ways, then, that is typically when everything can come in for you. Hey, Sugar Sweetie 44. This is just basically running through all the different meanings of the different tarot cards. So it's not specifically a reading for anybody. Okay. So this is one of those that lets you know wonderful balance is available for you with money. But remember the things with money and materialistic things and like that. When we've got inner balance, that is when the outer world also balances. Okay. So a lot of times we try to sort of like fix the outside world in outside ways. But when we come from the point where we understand that the outside world it's a reflection of the inner world, that is when we can understand how to get that balance. Okay. The Five of Pentacles is a space of feeling left out, feeling alone, feeling not good enough, feeling ignored, feeling left out in the cold, basically, feeling all crippled, feeling ignored. This is typically a mindset that is not serving you in the best positive ways. It's a mindset that brings about scarcity. So it says to you that instead of, this is also an energy of blaming others, victim mentality. And victim mentality is never going to bring you prosperity. And with victim mentality, even if you become a billionaire tomorrow, it's not really gonna feel fulfilling to you either, because you're still gonna look for problems. Okay, so this is about self-inflicting scarcity, basically. Okay, self-inflicted, sorry, scarcity. Um, the Six of Pentacles, the way that I like to explain the Six of Pentacles is one of those where you can give, no problem, but it's the intention with which you give that determines the outcome for you. And it's also one of those things where that reminds you that it's actually better to not give than when you give with a sense of almost entitlement. Oh, look at me, I'm so charitable, you know, putting things on Instagram and wherever, you know, look at me giving to the poor, that sort of thing. It speaks of how easily we can fall into the trap of the mind, and how easily we can fall into ego, where we perceive to be doing good and giving good and those sort of things, but it really comes more from a point of like, oh, look at me. Okay, because though that type of mindset, it never really serves you very, very well. Okay. The Seven of Pentacles is speaking about, it encourages you to work on your dreams, you know. It speaks about hard work paying off. You know, so maybe like, you know, like maybe you're an entrepreneur, or you're just starting a new business, or you started a new job, or, you know, whatever it is. This is the energy that encourages you to do the best that you can with the knowing and understanding that you have, and it's letting you know that that your nest egg is basically growing. Okay, so just because things are not going exactly the way that you want them to go at the moment, do what you can. The universe will take care of the rest. Was it seven? Yeah. Um, Eight of Pentacles. Eight of Pentacles is, it's basically new beginnings. It is encouraging you to work on your, you know, those things in life that make you happy, those things in life that give you joy. To, you know, this might be a space of like starting something new, like starting your own thing, venturing out on your own, following your dreams, following your passions, sculpting your natural gifts, your natural talents, that sort of thing. It's encouraging you to sort of do the things that make you happy. If you're looking for your life purpose, the question is, what are you doing that makes you happy? What is not so much of a job for you? For me, that happens to be tarot, you know, and regression hypnosis and those things. I can do them happily, and then that turns out to be my life path. Okay. Um, Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is, this is quite a beautiful energy to get. This is the energy that says, you know what, you've worked hard, you've invested, you've done beautiful, 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 beautiful things. Now it's time to let the magic flow. Look at the wonderful things that you achieved, and it's also letting you know, or remind you of the power of gratitude. When this, you know, as they always say, as Louise Hay, the founder of Hay House, always used to say, the universe loves gratitude. The more things you are grateful for, the more things the universe is going to give you things to be grateful for. So instead of maybe, you know, wanting to go so much for more, pause, have a look at the things that are around you that are beautiful, that are really fantastic, that are already working out. And, you know, then, you know, as you focus on those things that are already working out in your life, and the little things that you are grateful for in your life, you know, whatever those may be, life will, that is the way that you draw more success into your life for yourself. Ten of Wands is, Wands, sorry. Ten of Pentacles is just really, really fantastic. Ten of Pentacles, it's about reaching that dreams in life that is just so much more beautiful than you ever imagined. It is about, it's just life working out more beautifully than you could have ever possibly imagined. And the way to get here, you know, you don't just fall into this. This is when you've done your lessons, you've done through your trials and through your tribulations, you've done your inner work, you've done your, you know, you faced your demons and those sort of things. You've learned to love yourself and appreciate yourself and approve of yourself, and, you know, build that beautiful relationship with the universe and all those sort of things, you know. And as we had way earlier on when we were speaking about the lover's energy, just to show you in case you forgot, Remember when we spoke about this energy and we were speaking about twin flame energy? This is where you have got that beautiful relationship with the universe, that you understand that you are the one that creates your experience of life. This is where things can, this is about finding the meaning of life for yourself as a human being, getting why you incarnated into this being of life. This is a beautiful space to get to, okay? Like, this is the good life. Page of Pentacles, great ideas for new money, great ideas for new ventures, great new ideas for business. This is saying to, like, if you've been asking for money, if you've been asking for a breakthrough, you've been asking for a solution, what are the things that keep on coming up? What are the signs? Okay, what are the things that people around you keep on speaking about? What do they keep on asking you? What sort of makes you happy? Maybe you bake cupcakes or whatever, and that makes you happy. Maybe that is a way that you can, make money. What are your inspirations? Knight of Pentacles, don't be afraid to go for your dreams. But also just make sure that as you go for your dreams, also make sure that that whatever ventures you go into, that those are in alignment with what you want for your life. Okay. Sometimes in life we will get amazing opportunities that come about, and people speak about once in a lifetime opportunities, for example. All fine and well. You have a wonderful promise, but is it really for you? That is the question. If it is, fantastic. If it's, but you want to be sure that whatever you are entering into, whatever agreements you sign, be it marriage, be it partnership, be it whatever, is it really for you? Okay? Because you might be getting yourself into spaces that might be a little bit uncomfortable to get out of if you realize afterwards that it's not for you. Queen of Pentacles, fantastic. This is you making the money, making them green, making the money. This is also a card that reminds you that that you've got what it takes. Okay, it reminds you that yes, you might experience challenges in this world and all those type of things in this world, as we all do, but it also reminds you of who you are, and it reminds you of your strength and the fact that you are a survivor and that you've got what it takes. Okay. And King of Pentacles. King of Pentacles is obviously, it's everything. It's amazing. It's abundance. It's prosperity. It's success. It's light. It's shine. It is just wonderful. Absolutely fantastic. All right. So, more than 2 hours later, in the middle of the night. So it's kind of like the early hours of the morning now. But so there is a basic breakdown of the 78 cards of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. I hope that it helps you. I would really welcome your comments. As I said, it is a very general breakdown. If you are interested, I do also have a full tarot reading course. It is almost 10 hours long. There's a link in the description for that. So you can click on that. If you are maybe interested in, obviously more with the numerology side and how to do spreads and energy cleansing and all those type of things, all of that things are in this course. And also I have a free oracle card reading course. There's a link down below for that in the description as well. If you want to focus on something more like psychic development and your energy and energy alignment and those sort of things, there's a link for that as well down below. And in that course is actually presented via a private Facebook group. And that teaches you how to connect with your inner world, with your subconscious, to manifest stronger, to develop your psychic ability for whatever it is that you want to do. And then, of course, there's a link for my website down below as well. Or alternatively, just check out my weekly readings. But thank you so much, JD. I appreciate that. But from my heart, namaste, love and light. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea, and then I'm going to go back to bed. So from my heart, I wish you all the best. I wish the best for your life path. And whatever you do in life going forward, I hope that it's beautiful and I hope that it's successful. Namaste, love and light. Bye-bye.